Today's book is The Ministry for the Future by Stanley Robinson. Has some heavyweight endorsements right on the cover. One of Barack Obama's favorite books of the year. The best science fiction, nonfiction novel I've ever read. Jonathan Lethem. Well, I like Jonathan Lethem's books quite a bit, and I like him in general, well, better than the other guy. Let's leave it at that. But I can't agree on this one. It just didn't work really for me. I didn't enjoy reading this novel. But I think it's not a novel that's really geared to be enjoyed. I don't think it's not a light read. It's a very heavy topic. The topic is global warming. The euphemism is climate change, which is something like Frank Lunt came up with. Yeah, so they call it climate change now, but it's really global warming is the issue, and global warming is the issue in the novel. It starts out with a really intense scene involving global warming in a city in India, where it's very, very warm and very, very humid, and people are, the electricity goes out, but there's some generators, and a lot of people are all in a clinic trying to keep cool with the generator and the air conditioner that, pulls it down to, 80-something degrees or whatever, as opposed to whatever it is outdoors. It's all kind of in Celsius. So, yeah, 38 Celsius or something, 38 wet, 35 wet, something like that, including the humidity. So what goes on in this opening scene, which is no spoiler to the book, anybody will tell you about the grand opening scene of this really long novel, is that the people in this Indian city are all dying, and there's a mass die-off because they go into a lake, which is also, hot, like bath water, to try to keep cool. And our person that we're following in that part of the book and throughout the novel really is named Frank. He is, I think he's American, actually. He ends up living in Zurich, Switzerland through most of the novel, but I think he's American. So he ends up being a survivor of this hellish situation, but comes out of it rather scathed with, post-traumatic stress disorder. So from there, we meet the Ministry for the Future, which is something that I guess the UN set up in 2024, according to the novel. This was written in 2019, published in 2020. So it projects up a few years to 2024, 2025, when the Ministry of the Future was designated. And so we meet Mary, who is the head of the Ministry for the Future, and other people who are involved with the Ministry for the Future. So anyway, it's all about these people, Ministry for the Future. Their job is to try to do something so there is a future. They are the representatives of the and protectors of the future citizens of the globe. So they have various means of doing that, and so the novel goes through all the. It's a fantasy book, really. It's a fantasy of a possibility of actually taming global warming and how to structure a world better and in a more sustainable fashion after the crisis of global warming has hit. How the Ministry of the Future organizes several countries of the world to do this together, and a lot of information about the banking system, how they set up this thing of like carbon coin, which if you don't burn off your if you don't pull up your oil or use it for anything other than making plastics, you can get carbon coin from World Bank or something, and I was pretty much lost through a whole lot of this economics stuff because A, I'm not particularly interested in economics, and B, it wasn't explained in a way that made it interesting to me, and so I kind of zoned out in that part, as well as, I don't really believe that this is, going to actually happen. I don't think that the humans have a capacity to get it together and unite enough to stop global warming, if in fact humans are what's the primary cause of it, other than whatever other forces, how the sun's moving, I don't know, whatever. But we are told that it's because of pollution. I mean, I've been anti-pollution my entire life. I was in LA before catalytic converters. When I was one time I was out west, and it was horrible. And personally, I've tried to live my life not polluting, not raising my carbon footprint. I've lived in a city in a small apartment, in apartment buildings, which has collectively heated, and I don't have had a car for like a year after my mother died, or a couple of years, and then I moved to New York and didn't want to. That's why I moved to New York, so I could use public transportation and not have cars. So. I feel like, and I've not flown around a lot. I went to Europe once and flew back. I went to Mexico last year and flew back. But other than that, I've gone to Florida on a plane maybe once in the 60s, I think. So well, I guess one other time after that. So anyway, I try to personally not be I'm not the military-industrial complex with military bases 800 all around the world, and using all this fuel and burning up everything and all this other stuff. That I'm not the major industry. I'm not. That's what they use it. They use this stuff to. Yeah, well, you behave, citizens, while industry just sort of goes on and does what it wants to do. Oh. So yeah, I don't believe this book. He is really he electrifies the airplanes. I'm cat sitting in Brooklyn. This is Kitty. He wants the airplanes electrified, which is kind of not that easy. They're going to be a lot heavier with batteries, big batteries to store all that electricity. He doesn't look into any of the issues around the electric vehicles. He just buys that electric vehicles is going to be an answer because it's going to diminish the carbon that we're burning, because we're not going to be burning oil, because we're going to have electric vehicles. So, hey kitty. So he is all into the electric thing, which I don't buy, because I've seen what goes on with images, movies of how they have to mine to get all this stuff to do the electric devices. Actually, I right at the end of reading this, yesterday, I listened to a podcast I listened to called Savage Minds. And on that had a guy named Jeff Gibbs, who was talking about a documentary about the green energy revolution. And so I rented the movie last night and watched that, which was, it made a splash, I don't know, whatever, 6 months ago or something, when Michael Moore, he's the guy that produced Michael Moore's movies, and Michael Moore released it for free on YouTube, and it made quite a splash because it it debunks a lot of these hopes of this green energy, which ends up being renewable energy, which ends up being chopping down forests. Biofuel is chopping down forests, chopping down trees, and burning them in a mill to produce electricity. All the things that go into building and the energy that it takes to create all these solar cells. And this one thing out in California with all, you ever see the thing with all the mirrors? It starts with Arnold Schwarzenegger, who was a governor then, talking about this thing. Oh, we're gonna make this wonderful thing. Oh, it has all these mirrors that are created by Coke Industries, Charles Koch, and the mirrors all go up to this one thing where the power is generated, because the mirrors reflect all the power in this circle onto this thing up at the top, and that's supposed. But to start it up every morning, they use they burn natural gas. So all this stuff it ends up being kind of a fraud, and the film points out that all this. All this government money, like it shows Barack Obama again, a scene of him, where he is talking about, we're giving, this $1 billion to this renewable energy thing, and then he shows us what all that went into, and how all these environmental groups have been, kind of bought out. How the Sierra Club was all for this biomass stuff, which is chopping down trees and burning them up. This is what the Sierra Club is, because that's renewable. Yeah, the trees will grow back eventually. Well, the oil's renewable too, I guess, if you wait, a few million years. So anyway. Whatever, that's, kind of my overhead criticisms of this kind of whole thing, is I'm just not really buying it. I mean, it'd be nice if humans would get it together about something and not end up, frying their sacred place where we all live. But, I'm not particularly seeing it. I see them just sort of continuing on with the wars and continuing on with other things that are higher priority than doing anything like what goes on in this book. So my criticism of the book is that I didn't really enjoy reading it. It has like not really great characters, sort of sketchy characters, lots of technical stuff, lots of this economic things that drag on forever. It's a novel written to make a point, to deliver a particular type of manifesto of a possible utopian society. And that puts me in mind of another novel that is quite like that in structure in a certain way, but is way, way better, and that is Island, the final novel by Aldous Huxley, which is like from 1961. Now that's the same kind of thing. It's not really that great of a novel as a novel. It's mostly a tour of the island and the structure of the island, this utopian country, and with egalitarian things and all parrots that go, here and now, boys, here and now. It has a sort of a spiritual here and now attitude about things, and and they take mushrooms because that's a thing that Huxley was into, psychedelics, especially in the last 10 years or so of his life. It's just a much better novel, and both novels have a death. The one in Island is beautifully done. The one in this is just sort of regular. Guy goes to a hospital and goes to the hospice and kind of dies. I won't tell you who dies, but if you want to read the 500 pages to find out who dies, and then the last 60 of kind of this other tour around. There's a big tour in the end with a dirigible, an airship. That's something that they're going to have, these airships. But these things are very large. They're gonna have, and this guy just sort of has one for flying around the world to look at animals. And Mary, one of the main characters, the head of the Ministry for the Future, retires, and she flies around with this guy and these other global tourists. They fly all around the world and then go down and look at the animals, because wild animals have been reintroduced brought back into safe habitats, and corridors have been made for them. All this stuff is going on. Also, there's one of the things that creates the less carbon, and they get to a better level of carbon eventually, is that there's a super depression. Well, we don't see the super depressed people. We just see where things are doing okay and how things are better. He doesn't take us to I mean, doesn't someone suffer in a super depression? Everyone's just sort of happy because there's less oil being burnt. I didn't buy that either. So I've looked up like I was 200 pages yet to go, so I was like, when I get to that point in a book, I'll usually go to Goodreads and hit the 1s and 2s and see what people are saying. Is like, I really can't stand this book. Did not finish, whatever, and eventually I say, okay, I'll just press on. It's 200 more pages, and it's not here nor there whether I've read them or not. It's not here nor there whether I read the novel or not, other than I won't be reading any more of Stanley Robinson, I tell you that much. I understand he's a major science fiction writer. I've seen his books in the library. Many of them look like this thick, and I do like some science fiction. I like Stanislaw Lem quite a bit, but his kind of thing, I've seen other reviews calling this hard science fiction, which I guess means, very scientific and a lot of data and so forth. But it just comes off to me like the attempt to keep things going kind of as they are. This social political structures do change, and everything. Oh, they kind of get. See what they have this one app thing. Like, I don't know if you heard about this app that they're introducing in Ukraine, where everything, your business is done through this particular app. So they have this year one, or you got 1 year, or whatever things apps they have in the book, and so that's a good thing that helps. But it's all designated on a lot of social control. All the money gets blockchained somehow, so somebody can keep track of all the money. So there's a real serious amount of social control going on in here that people are not going to really go for, because there's a lot of people that go for less social control and a lot of freedom, and are balking at the amount of social control that's coming down now to us, some censorship going on with YouTube and Twitter and so forth. But this thing would be, what he's talking about would be definitely something that would have to go along with. I see there's a Bill McKibben quote in the back of it, and the movie I was talking about, the documentary about the green energy thing is called Planet of the Humans, I believe, and by Jeff Gibbs. Yeah, and he makes Bill McKibben look really kind of like A, clueless, and B, in bed with industry. What's Bill say about this? One hopes that this book is read widely, that Robinson's audience, already large, grows in order of magnitude, because the point of his books is to fire the imagination. So it didn't fire my imagination. It bored me. I didn't like it, and I know I'm in a minority in this opinion. I like it doesn't even have to have a plot. I like a novel with characters. I like human novels about characters, and this was not a human novel about characters. The main character is the globe, I guess, and the villain is warming, and that's the conflict going on, and everybody else is kind of cogs in this story about this other thing going. Oh, he's for terrorism. The Ministry of the Future sets up a black wing that carries out other things that the ministry is not acknowledging. So, it's like whatever the CIA military-industrial complex has a secret hit squad, whatever. Well, it has things like that, and there are some cool things go on, like they organize somebody we don't know is never identified. Actually, if he would have stuck with the gone into the black structures a little bit more and saw how that worked, it probably would have been a little more interesting to me. But he didn't. It was like these. There were a bunch of drones that go around the private jets and cause the private jets to crash, and so people stopped flying private jets. That's basically what we were told about. Not how it was done or anything like that, which could have been more interesting. It's just that or who did it. Is just that it was kind of done. So I think I should not bore you as well, and I should be kind of done myself. And thank you for tuning in. I hope you like the gong. I'm cat sitting in Brooklyn, and my friend is a sound therapist and has these cool gongs as well as other things, and these beautiful young boy cats who run all around the house that I'm minding for this weekend. So thanks for watching.